spiritualistonline.com. Online since 2002, teaching all aspects of personal and spiritual development. Free to all with audio video chat rooms, members forums and SOC radio live shows on site. The Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual awareness, development, attainment, imparting knowledge, thoughts, ideas to inspire. One site, linking a whole network of spiritually informative, educational and interactive services, encompassing every faith, path, walk, religion as one. Your membership on spiritualistonline.com. Join our teaching Lyceum, classes and courses to certificate and diploma levels. It's an option, not an obligation. Still only £30 per year for unlimited seminars, guest sessions, members' moments, voice members included on radio chats and TV shows, full certificate courses and qualifications, members' promotions of sites, books and services, discounts on SOC services, one-on-one teaching, private classes, members-only Facebook. Upgrade your membership today. Joint family group options. See spiritualistonline.com. Advertise with SOC Radio. 10, 15, 20 or 30-second jingles, adverts or promotions, all going out live on SOC Radio. Promote your services, churches, groups or events at the best rates online. Work with us on shows or promotion and you could get your jingles absolutely free. For this and more, contact Julie at socradioshows@gmail.com. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life with us here on SOC Radio and spiritualistonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the livelier spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com. SOC Radio aims to provide a wide range of hosts, shows, views and opinions while endeavouring to maintain our three vital principles of openness, honesty and integrity, covering all aspects of spiritualism, mediumship, healing, personal and spiritual development for all faiths, religions and walks of life as a way of life. As part of our spiritualistonline.com, Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, SOC Radio brings you the latest and honest news, views and names in the spiritual field. Check us out and tune in to SOC Radio on spiritualistonline.com. Join in the SOC Radio chat room on the website. Myths and Legends with Jeanette Jade and guests, Monday at 10 a.m. UK time and 11 p.m. New Zealand time. Do you like ghost stories? Are you interested in true, historical and fictional spooky tales? Then join us each Monday for some spooky tales from Facebook group Ghosts, the Paranormal, Supernatural Myths and Legends. Psychic medium Jeanette and her guests chat and discuss these and other stories, personal experiences alongside some readings and messages from Spirit and more. Dare you call in and share your stories? Add Circle of Mediums to your Skype and join in the show. SOC Radio welcomes you to Myths and Legends with Jeanette Jade, psychic medium and her guests, sharing ghostly experiences, tales of the unexpected and paranormal. Join us now if you dare.
And good afternoon, good evening and good morning, wherever you are. This is JULIESOC back with Myths and Legends from SOC Radio. It's your chance to learn all about ghosts, ghoulies, myths and legends. It's all about our lovely Facebook pages, Tell me a ghost story, and of course, ghosts, the paranormal, supernatural myths and legends. You can find them both on Facebook, and we share their stories, their legends, and their images in the chat rooms with us on spiritualistonline.com. So come along. If you shared a story on the Facebook pages this week, it may just be on the show today. I'm going to be sharing something a little bit different today. I'm going to tell you how to deal with all those ghosty experiences. We've noticed recently on the pages on Facebook quite a few stories about people experiencing spiritual activity or ghosts, the paranormal, etc. So what we thought we'd do today is talk about how you deal with them, how you understand, is it spirit, is it ghosts, is it a poltergeist, or is it the stuff of nightmares? Now I'm on my own today, so you're going to have to put up with me. I've got quite a few stories to share. Some of them are short and some of them are long. And you can find them on these pages on Facebook. That's, once again, Tell Me a Ghost Story and Ghosts, the Paranormal, Supernatural Myths and Legends on Facebook. And the first one I want to share is rather a short one, shared by Angelica, one of the two. And she's screaming for advice. She's asking, help, advice please. My 3-year-old son has been seeing things ever since we moved into our home. We are just getting ready to leave when my son Devlin walks into his room and says, hello, while walking into the corner of the room. Husband walks in, turns the lights out and says, where is it? Devlin looks around and points to under the bed. And at this point, Devlin is looking under the bed on his knees and talking. Well, tell him no. And he crawls fast out of the room. The crawling thing freaked me out because he just started doing that at the most eerie times. A few nights ago, while I came home, 3 a.m. night shift worker, I felt like I needed to check the children. I went into their room and I felt this horrific presence. I kissed my children and I had to check under their beds. I've never done that before, but I felt as if I needed to check the closets, the bathrooms and under the beds. I couldn't sleep. Something is in my house. We just bought the house last year and it was vacant the previous 6 years. So, what's going off with Angelica and her house? Okay, my first question would be, Angelica, has this happened anywhere else? Has your child always been sensitive to spirit, or is it only since you came to this house? There's also various ways of sorting this out, and the first thing to remember is children are a natural channel for spirit. And it's absolutely nothing to be scared of, okay? It is not going to be demons and monsters under the bed. It's not the bogeyman waiting, okay? Children are the most natural channel for spirit. That, and when you're in dream state. When you have those dreams that feel so real and you're getting a cuddle from grandma or granddad or uncle who's passed over, and when you wake, you can still feel that cuddle. That's nothing to be scared of. It's a spirit visitation in your dreams to let you know that they're still around. You get that feeling. You can still smell their clothing. You know it's them. You absolutely know for a fact you got a cuddle from them in your dreams. It's natural. It's one of the easiest times for spirit to connect with us, when our minds are so open. When we're in dream state, sleep state, our minds do not close off to the fear that life creates. So when you're talking about children experiencing spirit, and like this, when it's off the cuff, when it's a totally new experience, totally new place, and they walk in and they're immediately talking to an invisible friend, or a entity within the house, you can 9 times out of 10 guarantee it's family and friends looking at you and saying, hey, nice home, love the new house, welcome. With children, it's also possible it's their spirit guides and their loved ones, like their grandmas and granddads in spirit, having a little chat with them, and it may be that they show themselves in a child's form or a horsey, whatever the child is familiar with, to make them feel comfortable so that they're not scared. It may, of course, also be a previous tenant from the house that is saying hello to their new visitor and their new tenants within the house, and he's obviously made it feel very comfortable for your child. Now remember, the child was very happy to say hello, hello, and go running over to them and say hello and play with them. It was your fear later on when you sent something you didn't understand that turned it into something nasty. Okay? When you think, right, I've come in from night shift and it's all quiet and everybody's in bed, but you get the feeling that somebody's wandering around the house. Angelica, I'm going to say to you, don't worry about it. It is still probably your family and loved ones who are saying, I'm here, no, you were out working, kids are all in bed, I'm just here doing the security walk and making sure everything's okay. Now, at short notice, I don't know if Angelica is listening, but I'm going to send her all this information on Facebook and in a little bit of a message. But think about it, okay? You move into a new place, okay, it's been empty for quite a while, so there's very little activity being going off in that house, okay? Spirit or the previous tenants or somebody who's had that house at a previous time has had that house to themselves for some time and just been wandering around, and they walk in as a new tenant and pop their furniture around and all this, and they are now visited by spirit. When it comes to being a child seeing spirit, the first thing we want to do is say, oh no, there's no such thing as monsters under the bed, there's no such thing, don't do this, don't put them down. Please don't put them down for seeing spirit, okay? And it's allowing them, it's not always imagination. We always put it down to children have the most amazing imagination, But think about this situation. Child runs into his room for the first time and goes running in under the bed and is talking. Now, a child cannot plan that. Come on. 6-year-old child's not going to plan that, oh, when we move into a new house, I'm going to talk to a ghost. Can't do it. We may think about it as adults. We may think about it going to a new place, especially older buildings. You always get that feeling, is there somebody there? Or somebody will tell you, oh, you can't move there, it's haunted. And they immediately put into your mind the suggestion that you're going to have visitors within the house. It's, people go to historic old buildings all the time and never given a thought to it being haunted or having spirit visitors until somebody mentions it. It's the old adage of us walking down a dark alley, we're quite happy and comfortable until it pops into our mind or somebody says, I think we're being followed. And whether you are or not, your mind creates that fear. Your mind links something to it that builds up and creates anxiety and fear, and by the time you finish walking, you're actually running out of that dark alley and you're quite convinced you had a tall dark man in a dark coat chasing you, when in fact it was all in your mind. Now, that's not to say you're crazy. That is to say we build upon our own fears. Okay? So for Angelica, what I would do is I would be talking to her child and saying, hey, you got a new friend? Cool. Tell me about him. See what their child tells you about them. Okay? See if you can get some confirmation from previous tenants or neighbours as to who was in the house. Now, this one's a bit hard because it's been empty for so long, but let the child talk it through, okay? Make it as if they made a brand new friend at school. You get to know all about them, and when the child is ready, they will tell you what's going off in that room, okay? They will tell you who's under the bed or in the closet, right? Now, the only reason they're under the bed or in the closet because they allow themselves to be seen by so many people. And if they don't want to be seen by adults, they don't have to be. If this is a little guide or a helper for the child, not always will parents see or sense them, but children are naturally open to spirit. And spirit will keep themselves at a distance if they sense that you're closed off, that you're not interested, right? They don't want to create fear. They want to be seen by those who accept them, okay? So yes, there's your first story. A 6-year-old child walks into a house, brand new house, well, new home for them, and sees spirit. Absolutely no fear there. For once, take the hint from the child. No fear. Just go in and say, hey, I know it's your place. I know you've been here before. We're coming to live here now. We'll look after it. Let us know you're okay with that. You're welcome to visit. But please, bathrooms are out of order. You don't go in the bathroom. And please allow my child to sleep in his own room. You can come and visit during the day. But night times, no, let the child sleep. So you can talk to them, you can set boundaries. It's like having a sleepover. Think about it as friends coming for a sleepover, and you can talk to them and set boundaries. Okay? So there's your first little bit of a hint on how to talk to spirit when you find them in your property. Okay? When you're hearing things in your own home that shouldn't be there. Or, now we've got to cancel out all, of course, the physical, natural things that will create noises in homes. And I don't care how brand new your house is or how old your house is, you will get the natural creaks and groans of a building moving. They're not static. When a house heats up, joints move. When walls warm up, they will create noises. There is, of course, the bats in the belfry bit, where you've got little critters running around in cavities and attics, etc. Because, again, don't care who you are, how clean you think your house is, we've all got little visitors somewhere along the line, and they will create noises and creaks and groans that seem like spirit activity or poltergeist activity, etc. When in fact it's not. There's a perfectly natural explanation. There's also the electrical bit. You know, if a wire is not connected properly, if you haven't got something earthed correctly, you will get noises and things. So you have to check all that as well. We've done it this week. I don't know if you've heard, I'm here in New Zealand, and we've had one of the most terrific storms over Thursday and Friday, Saturday, in the country. And we're out in the countryside here in the lovely old church at the JULIESOC retreat. And we've found creaky windows, leaky windows. We've found the foyer, etc., lets water in when the rain comes flat bang against the front of the building. But also with it, we've found that the house acts, the church acts completely different than a bright sunny day, because we've got doors that no longer open properly because they got wet and they expanded, and when they dry out they will creak and groan. See, all these things make noises, etc., around the house. So when you've got the heating on all day and then you go to bed and it cools down through the night, your house groans and complains at getting cold again. And then when it heats up through the day, it will do exactly the same thing. So cancelling out all the natural physical things within and around your situation is the first rule. That creaking, groaning floorboard upstairs, does it just need fixing, or is there somebody walking over it? Things like that you need to sort out first, right? So if you've got somebody you can hear something going up the up the staircase. Check out the floorboards first. Are they just creaking and groaning at the heat and the warmth in the house, or the cold in the house, or is there actually something going up there? Because if there's nothing wrong with the floorboards and you can still hear footsteps, then do yourself a favour. Sit at the top of the stairs and say, "Hey, hiya, how you doing?" Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. And my dog is deciding to say hello to a visitor here in the church. Perfect timing. How's that? Sitting at the top of the stairs and your dog starts barking. There's another key. Animals are also open and aware of spirit, and they will let you know if there's something strange going off in your house. We can see all the stories on Facebook of my dog barks at something that's not there. My cat will not go in the kitchen or the bedroom or whatever. It's because animals are so also connected to spirit, and they will see things long before you hear or see them. So animals can give you a good key as to where to go to find spirit activity in your house. If a cat won't go in a certain bedroom, there's a reason why. That you can go in and again take a moment. There's a way, all this about smudging or getting in the ghost hunters or performing an exorcism is not required, right? Now, 9 times out of 10 you can go into a room and you can ask that spirit allow you to live in peace. If you acknowledge them, think of them as friends or family or strangers who've come for a visit and didn't realise you weren't there, or that you didn't, it's night time. Come on, you can leave it for another time. All you have to do is acknowledge them. Say hello. Think of it as friends coming and visiting and knocking on your front door, knowing for a fact you're in the house, and you ignore them. Now, what are they going to do? A, they're going to get upset. Why are you ignoring us? Why are you not available to me? I've come for a coffee. I'm only trying to get your attention. And you're sitting there watching the telly with the music blasting, and you can't hear them knocking. So they're going to bang on the door, and they're going to knock on the window, and they're going to do anything they can to get your attention. That's exactly what spirit do. You've come into their property, right? You're taking over a new house. You've come into their property, and they're saying, "Hey, this is my place. Who are you to come in my house?" Right? And they're trying to get your attention. Or it's family and friends, again, following you, checking out the new place and saying, "Let's have a housewarming party." And you're saying, "Oh, got to get the dinner on, got to get this on, got to get this sorted out, move that piece of furniture, that doesn't belong there." But the spirit are trying to get your attention. So they start throwing things around. They start knocking on doors and switching lights on and off. And you're thinking, "What the? Where's this coming from? Something doesn't want me in this house." It's 9 times out of 10 quite the opposite. And it's family saying, "Hey, love the new house. Look at these bright new lights. Lovely." And they're choosing their own little place in the house to look after you. So don't be scared when spirit activity appears in your home. People go to haunted houses, haunted pubs, anywhere. Why? Because the pure fact is we all love to be scared. Why do we take thrill rides on roller coasters? Why do we go jumping off bridges with a piece of string hung to your legs and do bungee jumping? We like the thrill. We like to be scared. Okay? But when it comes to our personal property and our own home, we're not so... Put it this way. If somebody built a roller coaster in your living room, you would think, "Hey, great, champion, lovely. Let's have some fun." Right? But if they did it overnight and you walked in, you'd be wondering what the hell's going off here, right? So think about your attitude and how you expect things to go, right? If you go out on a haunted weekend to a big old castle, right, and you come away and you haven't heard a thing, there's been no ghosty experiences, you'd be screaming, well, that was a waste of money, I want my money back. Didn't see a thing, didn't do this, didn't do that, it didn't scare me, nothing, right? But if you go away and go on holiday and expect a lovely, peaceful time and you get it and you're quite happy, we complain if there's the wrong bedding on the sheets or the bathroom sink leaks. We always find something to complain about, even on the perfect holiday. We very rarely say, hey, that was a beautiful holiday, it was fantastic. Give them the review that they deserve. It's exactly the same with spirit activity. If you don't want to deal with it, you can turn it off and you can tell them, leave us alone. It's how you deal with it that is the key. If you've got a visit, I'll tell you a story. I had a house years ago, and when I moved in, little things would be moved. I'd leave stuff on the draining board when I'm fatal for it, doing the washing, leaving stuff on the draining board to dry out. I would go away to town, go and do my shopping, come back, and didn't realise, but go for a cup, and there's nothing on the draining board anymore. They're all put away neatly in the cupboard. Or I would go up the stairs and have that feeling of somebody wandering up behind me. Now, I had a child who was less than 18 months at the time. He was born in February, and this was maybe a year late. Yeah, okay, 12 to... No, I'm wrong. It would be 8 months. Born in the February, we had the house in the September. So, yes, less than 18-month-old child. No way is he crawling up the stairs behind me. But I get this feeling somebody's wandering up the stairs. And I would wake up in the night and lights would be on. Or music on the stereo would be playing. Until I realised one day I unplugged the stereo on a night. This was when I had it. So before I went to bed, I'd unplug everything out the walls. One thing my mother drummed into me about unplugging things in case of fire, or I would just switch them off at the wall. And I woke up this one night and there's all this music playing. And I immediately thought, oh, somebody's having a party, right? Okay, at least they're playing decent rock and roll. And I would lay back and go back to sleep until it was 4 o'clock in the morning and it was still playing. So I wandered downstairs, realising that the music is not indeed from a party across the street, but from my own living room. And I went in, and yes, there's the stereo all lit up and the cassettes playing. For those, the old days when we played cassettes. Oh, I'm showing my age now. Anyway, switched the cassette off, switched the stereo off, went up to bed, fell back to sleep, woke up the next morning, comes down, does my usual, goes and puts the kettle on, sees to the baby, gets everything set up for the day, goes and switches everything on at the wall, and switching the stereo and the TV on, I realise, hold on, I was down here middle of the night, and that was playing. But it's not plugged in. Huh? What? How? So I plays the music, checks the stereo, and yes, my cassette had played right through and was now playing the other side of the tunes. And I'm thinking, no, okay, who's been playing my music through the night? So I asked around, and it was only a little tiny village, one street with a cul-de-sac. And yes, they told me about a lady who used to have the house and lived there a long time on her own after her husband passed. And poor old dear, all she had to do all day was putter around the house, doing her dishes, doing her laundry, and they would often see the lights on through the night when she couldn't sleep, and she was doing her little bits of job through the house, as people do. Now, all these noises, I'd also heard the rocking chair. The creak of the rocking chair. In the corner whenever a good film was on. She would join me to sit and watch the film. And I'd been waiting of one coming on for absolutely ages. When Dances with Wolves came out. That'll show my age. And yes, sure enough, getting all set up, baby in bed, me set up, coffee, snacks, got the popcorn going. The film comes on, and all I hear in the corner of the room is the creaking of the rocking chair. So I basically acknowledged her and said, look, I'm sorry. I do appreciate everything you've done in the house. I know you put my dishes away. I know you tidy up after me. Thanks for the music through the night, but can I please watch this film in peace? I've waited for it for ages. Please let me watch this film in peace. Sit still or pay me a visit another time. Well, she obviously took offence because she disappeared. But I got to watch the film. Hadn't heard from her for quite some time afterwards, and I realised I must have upset her. So once again, I just said to her, I do apologise, you're quite welcome to visit, but not the baby's room, not the bathroom, certain boundaries. And I've got to say, that other than once or twice afterwards, she didn't make her presence felt again, because she was quite happy that somebody was looking after the house. As long as I did my dishes and got everything sorted and left the place tidy, she was quite happy that somebody was looking after the house and she could move on. So there you go. How you handle and how you deal with it is up to you. If you want to include fear and be scared, you can do. But if you accept it and learn about who they are, then it can be lovely having grandma coming in, checking on the kids and watching after them, looking after the place when you're not around. See how it goes? Think of it as an extra security bit. Hey guys, thanks a lot for visiting. I'm away out for the night. Can you keep an eye on the place? And you get some burglars looking around and the lights go on. They know the place is empty. They don't know it's spirit doing it, do they? If you work with people in life, they'll do all sorts for you. If you work with spirit, they'll let you know who they are. Now, after the break, we're going to be talking about how to deal with the more active poltergeists, those ones that throw things around and just don't listen to you when you talk to them. So for now, we're going to go off to a bit of a break. And thank you. We
will be right back with more from Myths and Legends. Don't go anywhere. Don't miss out on the next scary tale coming up after a short break. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life here with us on SOC Radio and spiritualistonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the liveliest spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com or facebook.com/socradio. Spiritualistonline.com. Online since 2002, teaching all aspects of personal and spiritual development. Free to all with audio video chat rooms, members forums and SOC Radio live shows on site. The Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual awareness, development, attainment, imparting knowledge, thoughts, ideas to inspire. One site, linking a whole network of spiritually informative, educational and interactive services, encompassing every faith, path, walk, religion as one. Spiritualist Open Circle Forum Panel Show, the liveliest spiritual chat show online. the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum Chat Show with hosts, guest speakers and panellists discussing and challenging all areas of spiritual thought, ability, knowledge and more. Ever wanted to voice your thoughts and help set standards within the field? Confront those who bring the work down, or simply share your ideas and help bring Spirit's work into the light of day and give spiritualism the recognition of all as a true faith and way of life? Then this is the show for you. Every last Friday of the month, 10 p.m. UK time. Join the team. Astrology Chat with Chrissy Lincoln, Psychological Body and Spirit. Monthly chat show, last Tuesday of the month, 1 to 3 p.m. New Zealand time. Jenny Lee brings you spiritual insights, covering various topics from remote viewing to her upcoming book launch. Check it all out on our schedule live in the SOC Radio chat room on spiritualistonline.com, or simply listen in at tunein.com and search for SOC Radio. Advertise with SOC Radio. 10, 15, 20 or 30-second jingles, adverts or promotions, all going out live on SOC Radio. Promote your services, churches, groups or events at the best rates online. Work with us on shows or promotion and you could get your jingles absolutely free. For this and more, contact Julie at socradioshows@gmail.com. Spirit Weavers with Jodie White Wolf Morrison, a weekly 1-hour radio show, Thursdays 8 p.m. UK time, featuring those who are dedicated to living their spirituality and exploring how that is woven into their everyday lives through their work, practices and beliefs. Various SOC members from Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum sharing their abilities, knowledge and more. Dates and times will vary. Live in the SOC Radio chat room on spiritualistonline.com, or simply listen in at tunein.com and search for SOC Radio. Welcome back. Are you sitting comfortably? Then we will continue with more scary stories, experiences and messages from realms yet to be explained.
And welcome back. Today it's myself, JULIESOC, aka Julie Simpson, Spirits Medium with Myths and Legends, and we're going to share in this next half hour information about poltergeists and how to deal with them, those spirit activity or ghosty activity, and there is a way to tell the difference. Okay, those ones that don't just accept you when you say, hey, behave yourself, or welcome, Lord, nice to meet you, thanks for paying attention, but you know, let us live in this house now. And that's a simple way of dealing with spirit activity, especially if you're going into a new property or an old property but new to you, obviously, and you start getting poltergeist activity in one room or another, and you hear things getting thrown around, you hear the creaks and the groans, the old stories of the chains in the basement, etc. Okay, now first of all, how to tell a ghost from spirit. Okay, a ghost is a time slip. It's a replay of an event past. Can be simple thing of the old man who was very ill and lived for a long time in the house and passed, and from then every now and then on, when he's crossed, you'll hear at a certain time his radio go on, or you'll see an image within a room, a shadow person, or not a shadow person but a shadow, something that happens at a regular time. Okay, so the old man always had his alarm set at 10 a.m. in the morning, so alarm clocks go off at 10 a.m. in the morning. Or on a night he'd watch this TV at 11 o'clock, and the 11 o'clock better TV will go on. Whatever, but there's certain things that old man would do for the length of time he lived in the house, and you get that same activity, right? Now there's nothing you can do. You can't communicate with him because he's not really there. It's a replay. You're just hearing the old TV go on. You're hearing the radio, or you're seeing an apparition or a image, whatever, at the same time, same place, every time, nothing changes. Okay? That is a replay. Okay, it often, when people come to me and say I've got activity and it only happens at springtime, or it only happens around the 15th of August, or a certain day and a certain time, those are often what we call memories. Okay, a place has a memory of what happened, like the day somebody passed away, or the day a major event happened in that property. You've all heard of the grey lady who walks the castle stairs, the armies that march the continuous battlefield. Major events that always repeat themselves when the environment or the conditions are right to replay them. It's an atmospheric thing. It's a magnetic field thing. It's an aura type thing. And think about it. If you've got somebody who lived in a property for a long, long time and went through the same routine and then passed, the memory in that house is of that routine, and you will have certain things that still happen, but there's no communicating with them. You can't go and say, hey, can you stop this? Because it's a replay. It will just happen every once in a while. It's not constant. It's not changing. They don't swap from place to place or whatever. They're not trying to communicate. It's a replay. It's a movie, if you like. It's an old black and white film replaying, and there's no communicating with it. Okay? Spirit will communicate, and they're trying to get your attention. So they will do various things, like we've talked about, lights going on and off, things getting moved around the house, bangs and knocks when they're trying to get your attention. And these things vary. It's never the same thing twice. Okay? When you ask to communicate, they will respond in various different ways. Okay? People expect, even when they're using Ouija boards, or they're using pendulums, or they're using spirit boxes, or all the tools and of the trade in ghost hunting and the paranormal these days, they will ask, can you give me a sign? Can you let us know that you're here? And they will hear bangs and raps or voices on the AMP, etc. And then they get that response, or they get a response, and then they say, can you repeat that, please? Now, if you're in conversation with somebody and they're forever asking you to repeat that, please, or can you tell me that again, please, how would you feel? How would you like being asked and be tested in every conversation you have? Think about it. You have to keep repeating yourself to your friend because they're not understanding what you're saying. What do? You don't say the same thing. You try and explain it in a different way so that they can understand it. Well, it's exactly the same for spirit. And to put them to the test all the time, I'm sorry, it's not on. You get a response, you say, hey, thank you for that. Is there anything else we can learn from you, or anything else you would like us to know? And you carry on the conversation. You don't keep asking them to repeat it. It's like asking a child to come draw the same drawing every time. You know for a fact it's going to come out totally different. Okay? You've got to be aware that, okay, you make connection, you get the link, you acknowledge them, they acknowledge you. Okay? Then you move on in the conversation. Okay, we've got activity in a room, we've got things getting thrown around, we've got books getting moved off the shelf, etc. So somebody's trying to get our attention. So we ask, hi, how are you? Is there anything we can do for you? Do you want to give us your name? And you get responses. They'll throw a book down, or they'll turn a light on, or they'll just say hello. They'll turn a radio on or whatever. It's no good just saying, oh, can you do that again? Because they're going, look, I've already answered that question. Why do I need to answer it again? So you ask for more information, more evidence, right? And forever moving a pendulum or moving a kid's toy on the floor is going to get boring. And they'll be saying, look, I've proved. So you need to find out who they are. Do I know you? Get a response. Yes or no. Can I help you in any way? Get a response. Yes or no. Now, responses come in many ways. They will move things. You will hear whispers. You will hear a tune or a music playing. Various things. And you may not get even the response straight away. You can leave a list of questions and see where the response comes later on, because you might not get them in the room where you're at, but elsewhere. I once did an investigation of a place, and we did all that. We got responses, we got information, then it went quiet, and we said, right, okay, they're not here right now, but I left a list of questions. It says, we'd like to know who you are, you're linked to the house, or you're linked to the family, that kind of thing. And we went off elsewhere, and we went and had a cup of coffee, and I was about ready to leave when we realised that in the mirror in the bathroom, as I was leaving them into the toilet, in the mirror in the bathroom, they had family photographs in a certain order around the picture of the mirror, right? And when I went in there, I noticed that one of them had been taken off and was laid face down on the bathroom cabinet. So I called the owner and I says, is there a reason why this picture's come down? And, oh no, it was there this morning, it was fine, it was there earlier on. I said, who's in the picture? And she picked up the picture, and it was one of her grandparents. And I said, oh right, okay, so there's no reason for it to come down off the wall. So he says, hold on, let's go back in. So we went in the living room, and we asked again, was it the grandparents? And we got a response. So we had a whole conversation with them. And she'd had a recent newborn baby. And she'd had the activity ever since the baby was born. And guess who was visiting? The grandparents. Coming to see their great-great-grandchild for the first time and looking after the grandchild. So as soon as we acknowledged them and realised who they were, we were able to let them know, thank you for visiting, thank you for meeting your little grandchild, you're welcome to come and take a visit, but let him sleep in his nursery in peace. Simple, easy things like that will show you how to deal with spirit. The poltergeist is a bit different. Now this can be in any building. It can be all over the place. It doesn't necessarily always have to be in your home. Workplaces have poltergeist. The old pub, whose old landlord doesn't like the new one and comes in and starts throwing things around and messing with the pipes, etc., and turning lights on and off and letting him know he doesn't like how he's running the pub. Or we've got the person who's been in hospital a long time and didn't like it and is at the stage where they can't understand that they've passed on, or that they come back and they want to let people know that that room was where they were, and they just want acknowledgement. Spirit communicate, and they communicate for a reason, including poltergeists. It's not the devil, it's not demons, it's not things of nightmares. There's usually always a reason. Like a house where I was called in one day, they had spirit activity, and I think I've told this story before, so I won't go into all the details, but it turned out that a closed, locked cupboard that had been hidden by a fridge in an alcove needed to be opened. And as soon as we opened up that cupboard, we saw where the energy was coming from and released the energy. We found out the story of a girl who'd been locked in that cupboard as punishment way back when by a totally different family, and all she wanted was the acknowledgement that things had happened to her in that house. And as soon as we cleared out that alcove, moved the fridge elsewhere, opened up that cupboard, made it a useful tool cupboard so it couldn't be locked again to lock another child in, she was quite happy to go off down into the garden and play. That's the kind of thing poltergeists want you to know. We had a lady years ago who came into spiritualistonline.com in our chat rooms and shared with us the story of a hospital she was working in, and this particular room that nobody could stay in, because beds would be upturned, chairs would be turned all over the place, and for years it had been locked up as a store cupboard because nobody was, even as a store cupboard, things would get thrown around and moved around and nobody wanted to go in that room. So it came to pass that they needed this extra room. And, oh God, I sound like the Bible, don't I? It came to pass. Sorry. The hospital actually needed this room. So they wanted to know how they could clear it and deal with whatever was going off in it. So I said, right, clear the room, set it up as a bedroom once again, go in there, sit down and talk. Let whoever is there know that you're there and you want to know what was going off. Why are they so adamant that that room should never be used as a bedroom again? So she did. She went into that room and she sat down and she was reading a book or whatever. And as she did, she talked to the spirit. Why is it you don't like anybody here? What is your name? What happened to you here? And she immediately got the impression of being restricted, being restrained, of being locked in, but not in the room, within herself. And she got this guy's name, and over time and various visits, he explained to her that he had been in a coma or in locked-in syndrome in that room for many years, but his mind had always been conscious of events going around him, and people didn't know it. He knew it, but the medics at the time didn't know it, that he was aware of all the things that were going off around him, but his body was immobile. And she got the whole story from him. She got the history, she got names, she got details. She went back into the hospital records and she found this gentleman and the record that he'd been in that coma for some time and in that room all alone, in his own mind, with nobody talking to him. Even the carers didn't look after him, didn't talk to him. They went through the routine of the bed baths and making sure his hair was his cut and all this, and he was given a shave. But they didn't talk to him. They didn't acknowledge him, thinking he didn't understand the damn thing that was happening to him. But he did. And when Lorraine talked to him and explained to him and said, look, it's okay, we acknowledge this now. Tell you what we're going to do, we're going to put a memorial for you in the garden. And he was quite happy. And she allowed that he could move on and he could release the stress of being in that hospital the whole time. And she informed him that she would let his family know that he knew what was happening and that they would pass on a message to the descendants. And she did. So she asked, you can move on now, we've got the message, we've got the details. Can we use this room? And he moved on. And as far as I know, that room is now in use again, once again in that hospital. Little things like that, taking the time to understand what's happening. From being a very violent room where nobody dared go in, to being, again, a caring hospital room. Simple things like that. Talking to them, understanding why. You see all these most haunted programs, etc. going off, and they go in and they take photographs and they've got the cameras going and they've got all this technology going off. One thing I very rarely see them asking, why are you here? What can we do to help you? 9 times out of 10 they get a response, they see something thrown, they hear a pin drop and they run a mile. Hence, they're not dealing with the issue. And if they're seeing a ghost, a repetitive replay of an event gone by, they're recording it, fine, brilliant, lovely. But when it comes to spirit activity, there's a reason why. And spirit are here to communicate, to explain that life goes on. And if that's the only point that they get across, then they've done their job. Hey, it's Grandma, I'm still here. Hey, I used to live here. This was my room. Can I play with your children? Because they still want to play. They still want to look after us. They still want to take part in life today. Think about it. We all think about going back to our old hometown and seeing what it's like now. Can you imagine yourself, right, going back to your old hometown where you were brought up, and the old house where you were brought up, knocking on the door and saying, hey, I used to live here. Can I come and have a look around and see what it looks like now? And you get the new tenant saying, no, get away, get away, get away. No, this is our house. No. Or they ignore you completely. And all you want to do is take a look around, see what your old bedroom looks like. That's Spirit's whole reason for being here. To communicate, to take part, to visit their old hometowns and their old rooms. And yes, like the old lady who used to sit in the rocking chair, she still looked after the home. Till she realised that somebody moved in who, yeah, okay, she'll look after it. She doesn't have to be there the whole time. So when it comes to poltergeist activity, ask yourself why. Another reason is when you're changing things, look at when the spirit activity takes part, when it starts to happen. And there's usually a reason. You've ripped out an old wall and made 2 rooms into one, or you're changing what was a basement into a bedroom. Things like that, additions and changes to a house, can often spark an old tenant saying, hey, don't like what you're doing here. That's my place. Why are you destroying it? Explain to them. It's giving reverence, if you like, respect to not only the property, but to previous tenants. And of course, not every house has spirit activity. It's not always linked to the house. So in the next half hour, what we're going to talk about is bringing spirit with you. Those spirit who will talk to you wherever you are. People move houses 5 times and still have spirit activity and wonder why. Every house they move into is spirit activity. It's not. They're linked to you. No, they're not attached to you. No, you're not possessed. No, you're not going to have this for the rest of your life, etc. But they are family and loved ones who come along with you. So we'll be talking about that in the next half hour and sharing some more stories from, of course, our lovely Facebook groups who join us here on spiritualisonline.com. It's Tell Me a Ghost Story, the one in all capital letters. That's where we're getting the stories from today, for those who are asking for help on understanding spirit activity, ghosts and poltergeists, etc. And we've also got the group, of course, Ghosts Paranormal Activity on Facebook as well. So check us all out. Check out SOC Radio on Facebook, of course. We've got the Friends of SOC Radio page where you can join in and ask your questions and post your information. And your SOC Radio show ideas, your compliments and complaints, of course. Check out spiritualisonline.com where we teach this 24/7, where we have everything from healing sessions through to special guest sessions, classes and courses on spiritualisonline.com. And of course, we're looking for new shows on SOC Radio. If you've got a paranormal story, if you've got a show idea, abilities, knowledge that you would like to share, join us on SOC Radio, and we, of course, will give you your own radio show. We're also looking for advertisers, anybody who wants to advertise your services, whether you're a medium psychic, whether you're a healer, or whether you've got the local bike shop, or whatever. Promote your ideas on SOC Radio, and promote your services on SOC Radio. Get in touch with us at socradioshows@gmail.com. That's socradioshows@gmail.com. Share us your ideas and your thoughts, and we'll be in touch straight away. Check us out at spiritualisonline.com and all over Facebook. And we'll be right back after these messages from our sponsors and other shows on SOC Radio.
We will be right back with more from Myths and Legends. Don't go anywhere. Don't miss out on the next scary tale coming up after a short break. Spiritualistsonline.com. Online since 2002, teaching all aspects of personal and spiritual development. Free to all with audio video chat rooms, members forums and SOC radio live shows on site. The Spiritualists Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual awareness, development, attainment, imparting knowledge, thoughts, ideas to inspire. One site, linking a whole network of spiritually informative, educational and interactive services, encompassing every faith, path, walk, religion as one. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life with us here on SOC Radio and spiritualistsonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the liveliest spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com. The Circle of Mediums radio show. 6 mediums, healers, psychics, tarot, astrologers, spiritual workers every week, sharing spirit messages, development techniques, guidance and much more. Live in the SOC radio chat room on spiritualistsonline.com or simply listen in at tunein.com. Search SOC Radio. Would you like to contribute readings, thoughts, teachings and time to this 2-hour show? Get in touch at socradioshows@gmail.com. Membership on spiritualistsonline.com. Join our teaching lyceum, classes and courses to certificate and diploma levels. It's an option, not an obligation. Still only £30 per year for unlimited seminars, guest sessions, members' moments, voice members included on radio chats and TV shows, full certificate courses and qualifications, members' promotions of sites, books and services, discounts on SOC services, one-on-one teaching, private classes, members only Facebook. Upgrade your membership today. Joint family group options. See spiritualistsonline.com. Advertise with SOC Radio. 10, 15, 20 or 30-second jingles, adverts or promotions, all going out live on SOC Radio. Promote your services, churches, groups or events at the best rates online. Work with us on shows or promotion and you could get your jingles absolutely free. For this and more, contact Julie at socradioshows@gmail.com. Beyond the Veil with Terry Oz. Check it out first Monday, monthly, 2 p.m. UK time. Terry shares her experiences and love of spiritual communication with those from beyond the veil. Join us live in the SOC radio chat room on spiritualistsonline.com or simply listen in at tunein.com and search for SOC Radio. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life with us here on SOC Radio and spiritualistsonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the liveliest spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com. Astrology Chat with Chrissy Lincoln, Psychological Body and Spirit. Monthly chat show, last Tuesday of the month, 1 to 3 p.m. New Zealand time. The Circle of Mediums radio show. 6 mediums, healers, psychics, tarot, astrologers, spiritual workers every week, sharing spirit messages, development techniques, guidance and much more. Live in the SOC radio chat room on spiritualistonline.com or simply listen in at tunein.com. Search SOC Radio. Would you like to contribute readings, thoughts, teachings and time to this 2-hour show? Get in touch at socradioshows@gmail.com. Membership on spiritualistonline.com. Join our teaching lyceum, classes and courses to certificate and diploma levels. It's an option, not an obligation. Still only £30 per year for unlimited seminars, guest sessions, members' moments, voice members included on radio chats and TV shows, full certificate courses and qualifications, members' promotions of sites, books and services, discounts on SOC services, one-on-one teaching, private classes, members-only Facebook. Upgrade your membership today. Joint family group options. See spiritualistonline.com. Welcome back. Are you sitting comfortably? Then we will continue with more scary stories, experiences and messages from realms yet to be explained.
And welcome back. It's Julie Simpson with Myths and Legends. And we're sharing today stories of ghosts and poltergeists and how to deal with them, how to communicate spirit, and how to tell, is it a ghost or is it a spirit? And in this half, we're going to be talking about, this section, we're going to be talking about spirit attachment. For those people who have moved and constantly moved house, but still have spirit activity. It's not always the house that is linked to the spirit, or the spirit that is linked to the house. Sometimes it's you. We all have family and loved ones around us from the spirit world at all times. We also have, of course, our guardian angels and our guides who help us and teach us throughout our lives. And these entities, or these spirits, I don't like the word entity. It sounds like something scary, but there is nothing to be scared about your guides and your loved ones visiting you from spirit. So what I'm going to do is going to share this rather, it's a bit lengthy. It's a bit of a story on the Facebook page, Tell Me a Ghost Story. And it's from Brandon. And they're sharing what's been an ongoing situation for them. So bear with me while I share this. And then as I can, I'll go along and try and explain my interpretation of what's been happening. So Brandon lets us know that they've been part of the group for over a year, and they've shared their story before. And there's some new things, a new family moved in and a new home, etc. So they're going to share the story and the evidence, and they've left a video on the page as well to show us some of the evidence that they've been getting. And they want people to take a look and let us know what we think. So let's get into it. Being part of this group for over a year or better now, and I've shared my story before, but of some of the new people and the new home we finally moved into. I'm going to share again once my story, as well as some of my evidence. And if there's anyone out there can help by taking a look at what evidence I have, it may help shed new light on something we cannot seem to shake off. I'm 35, I have 5 kids, 4 living, 1 deceased. Passed 2 years old in 2006. Of my family that have passed away that I was close to was my father, my son, my uncle, my grandmother and my cousin, and my best friend, who I had not spoken to in years when she passed away, because we had a huge fight. She blamed me for something that I didn't do, and it tore us apart. The deaths are in no particular order to being treated as suicides, even though there were no notes of any kind found. No foul play suspected, however, in either case. I've always seen things out of the corner of my eye, like everyone else. But then I learned I could see things with my mind. But when I was told to practice it, that things I was seeing I didn't want to see, and it turned into night terrors. This is because you didn't learn about it, Brandon. Probably dived into it, didn't get some guidance or some help with it. So not understanding what you saw, the fear crept in and turned it into nightmares. And yes, no matter where we are, we can move their houses many times and still have those spirit links with us, of your family, of your loved ones, your best friends. We may have a fight in life, but in spirit she's learned the truth about the matter. She wants to come back and say, hello, I'm still your friend. But let's get back to the story. Years went by, and to skip to when my first son was born, I was violently snatched around my sister's bed as I was sleeping after major surgery. I remember her room always being cold, and remember the man that lived in the closet. He didn't like the door closed, and if we closed it we heard things, and things would happen. But on this particular evening I was simply drowsy and took a nap very late, around 6 or 7 p.m. I was half awake, half asleep, when the first jerk on my leg happened and pulled me almost to the floor. And then he snatched me by my hair to take the top corner. I'll read that again. And pulled me almost to the floor, and then snatched me by my hair to the top corner, and then back down to the opposite corner. That was the first attack I ever remember having. But my mum told me after my grandmother passed from cancer, I would sit and talk to her like she was really still there. And I have memories from when I was with her. But she died when I was 3-year-old. Also, I had premonitions of bad things that were going to happen, and I didn't understand what it meant until the actual event occurred. 3 years ago is when I started suffering the majority of my trouble. I hope this isn't linked, but there we go. I met my husband, and it began within 3 weeks of us dating. We would both hear things and see things. Things went missing. I always felt we were being watched. Both were physically attacked, and I ended up in hospital within a month of the start of this. From what we understood, this spirit was a woman who was in love with my husband's soul, and things became so violent that within a week of me being admitted to hospital and nearly dying, we moved. It calmed down for a while, but it came back full force when we moved to Georgia. We had been there a month when it started up again. Little things. 2 months later, I was again in hospital with the same things happening, but worse at this time. This time it tried to conceal the problem more than the first time. But when tests came back and doctors were confused and perplexed by my case and admitted me right away, I was scared. My daughter was 5 at the time. She'd just turned 5, and she said her friend wanted me to die, and I was admitted 3 days later. I will never forget the way she said it, or the way she was talking about this friend and what he had told her. I was terrified. I began contacting paranormal investigators, keeping a video journal and written one, and trying to obtain evidence as much as possible. And she states that they've let a video on the page of the house in Georgia. She says, let me first be clear in telling everyone that the light was not attached to do with the video, and to make sure that there was no changes made to the video, etc. Now, this story is classic. She's been told a lot of things, she's been given a lot of information, but they have not actually communicated, by the sound of it, with the spirit that's been with them through their lives. Okay? Some major things telling us here that there is a lot of things going off around this couple. They're both very sensitive. They're both, in their own ways, mediums, because they can see things happening. They have experienced spirit activity throughout their lives. She's been told, even as a child, she told that she would communicate with her grandmother who passed. So this woman has been, this person has been linked with spirit her whole life, but she's never been told how to deal with it and how to communicate with it, let alone how to cope with it within herself, to actually understand. It's like diving you in the deep end to be a fisherman and not telling you that you need a fishing rod to catch the fish. Okay? It's like telling you that you are going to go swimming but not giving you the equipment that you need to do it. You've not been given the wherewithal, the knowledge and the equipment to deal with all these things that's been happening around you. Now, all this about somebody telling you it's a spirit who's in love with your partner and is trying to drive you out of the situation. In an extreme case, okay, I could believe it. No, I'm sorry. It is more likely that you've had this connection throughout your life. Both of you have. Even your partner has been seeing things and experiencing things. The being pulled from a bed is an extreme reaction from spirit, and it's probably not to attack you, but to give you a warning of the health issues that were coming, to let you know that you need to be awake, that you need to be doing something, you need to look after yourself. The room always being cold is a sign of spirit activity. When spirit are around, temperatures drop or they indeed raise. Extremes. Okay? I know we can say, oh, you can brush that off as being anything, a cold spot in the open window, etc. If you've cancelled out all the physical activity or the physical explanations, there's always a spiritual one. Okay? Now, a child being born will spark off, as I've mentioned before, your loved ones from spirit coming in to say, hello, I want to meet the new child. And your child will naturally be linked to spirit. Okay? You say you have a child in spirit. It could be as simple as that child in spirit returning to play with your new child. Okay? Your second child. You've got loved ones in spirit. You've got a best mate in spirit who wants you to know that she's okay. Okay? That wants you to know that the fight that you had in life is no longer relevant, and she wants to make friends with you again. Okay? All this about your health suffering each time. I don't know how many people come to me and say, I had a nightmare last night and I woke up with a scratch on my back or scratches on my legs. The first thing we've got to cancel out is, during the nightmare, did you do it yourself? Okay? Because we throw ourselves around and we have nightmares and we can scratch ourselves, we can harm ourselves in bed. Okay? And the other thing we need to cancel out is obviously anything in the bed that's causing the problems, sharp edges on beds, etc., that kind of thing. But when it comes down to showing you that each time there's been spirit activity that your health is suffering, right? Is it the spirit activity causing the health issues? Or is it your health that needs checking to start with? Physically attacked by spirit is actually very rare, okay? But it is a severe time when they are wanting you to take notice. And if you're showing fear and you're fighting back, and it is your grandfather or your mother or your auntie or your uncle or your best friend just trying to get you to pay attention and you're fighting back, what they're trying to do is get your attention. And yes, injuries do happen. Or it's a warning. Not to get out of the relationship, not to get out of the house, but of something. You said you have precognitive dreams. Precognition is knowing when things are about to happen. Again, this is something it says by this story, you have not learned how to deal with it. They don't make sense to you until the event happens. When we get precognition or prior knowledge of events, it's a preparation for us. Whether you get told that you see an image of a tsunami coming in, of beaches getting flooded, or planes crashing, whether you choose to inform others and get involved, or it's a preparation for you to cope with disaster, to cope with the offshoot of what's happening here, with the events. They're developing you psychically and spiritually, and you're not understanding or taking in the information that they're giving. Okay? I do not think in any way it's anybody trying to split up the partnership, split up the relationship. Okay? When children see spirit, as you say, my daughter was 5 at the time, and she said that her friend wanted you to die. Children can misinterpret things, okay? So I would need to be talking to the child. In what context was that information that she was given? Was she talking about you? Was it totally different situation? So we need to get in there and talk to the child. Your daughter, again, is obviously, this is running in the family. Your daughter is very sensitive to spirit. She's seeing spirit. She does not know how to interpret things that are coming from spirit. All these things we need to take into account. But all the way through this story, all I hear is fear, scared, not understanding, not learning. You're bringing in investigators, but you're not bringing in the mediums. You're not talking to spirit. You're not trying to find out why these spirit are constantly trying to get your attention in not one property, but 2 or 3. Okay? So it's linked around you. It's not the houses, as we were talking about before. It's not anything to do with the history or the tenants or whatever of the properties beforehand. This activity is around you. And it reminds me of a story that's coming up on a brand new radio show on SOC Radio from Phil Saracusa, who's bringing with him his story of the oh God, I've just the head, it's gone straight out my head. The Tracy, help me please, got our little producer in the background. Phil Saracusa with I can't remember the name. Why has it gone out my head? It's gone straight out my head. But it's a constant story of a property where spirit activity is going on. The Horse Fry Chronicles. Thank you. It's just come to my mind. Phil Saracusa is bringing a brand new show to SOC Radio, telling us about a property that has had constant spirit activity and various different stories going off. Now, that one, is it linked to the property? Is it linked to the people? With this story from Brandon, it is linked to you and your family. Somewhere along the line, even your mother tells you, way back as a child, you were talking to spirit. So what I would want me to do, Brandon, with your story, is talking to you personally, investigating everything. You link way too much, if you like, to those who have deceased in your family. Okay, you list who's deceased in your family. You also list their reasons, etc. Why they've passed, whether they're suicides, whether they're family or friends, the events going off around them. You're not looking at yourself. You're not looking at why you're so connected to spirit, why your partner can see spirit, why your child can see spirit, and understanding that you're all psychic and mediums. And learning how to deal with these issues will explain to you, and communicating with those spirit that are around you will help explain all of this behavior, all of the events that are around you. One thing you need to do is accept, learn, and communicate. Okay? 3 simple steps. Lose the fear, accept it, see it as part of life, because it is. They're trying to guide you, they're trying to teach you. That you were laughing and carrying on with your grandmother, and you were telling stories with your grandmother was communicating with you as a child when there was no fear. Okay? But when you are older and you bring in the fear to it, you don't understand what's happening. Okay? I would love to talk to Brandon a lot more about these events. Now, again, I will be contacting them on Facebook to see if we can't help them out and understand what's happening. But this is what I was talking about spirit attachment. People talk about
I've got a ghost attached to me. Can I get them off?
I've been told I've got spirit linked to me and attached to me and they're possessing me and all this. No, I'm sorry. It's like having your best friend. Again, as in life, so in spirit. You've got a best friend, okay? You see them all the time, no problem. And then all of a sudden you say, look, I just want some time on my own. Can I take tonight off? But they want to be there all the time. You've got that clingy friend who, no matter what you do, they want to do it as well. And you want your own time out. Spirit are with us all the time. And we can say, hey, back off, let me alone. Leave me some peace. And they are teaching us, they're guiding us. There's a reason they're with us. Whether you're in a car driving and you get this feeling that somebody is in the back seat, take notice of what's going off around you. Do you need to pay more attention when you're driving? Put that phone down. You're not supposed to be texting while you're driving. Take notice of other people on the road. As my mother used to say, Julie, I trust you're driving. It's everybody else on the road I don't trust. Is there a truck coming across an intersection that should have stopped at a red light? That kind of thing. Pay attention to what's going off. Why you feel spirit around you, there's always a reason. When you're going shopping, when you're going downtown, you hear your name called. Are you missing something? If you turn around and look, is there an old friend there that you haven't seen for a while that you should say hello to? When you end up going for a coffee and bump into an old friend instead of going shopping, spirit guided you there. They showed you that coffee shop. They said, look, time for a break. Go take it. Okay? There's no such thing as spirit attachment. Even when we're doing trance meditation, when we're doing transfiguration, when we allow spirit to come in and use our body, our voice, our arms or our hands to write things, to paint pictures, psychic artists communicate and cooperate with spirit. It's a cooperation because we understand we are forming a connection. When we do not understand that our best friend's coming in, grabbing your hand, making you write or draw a picture, and you're fighting it and saying, what are you doing? I don't want to do this. The fear comes in. The misunderstanding comes in. And you're not understanding your job. Try going in and doing somebody else's job without any instruction, training or whatever, and you'll mess it up. That's spirit communication. That is what happens when spirit come in and they're helping you. They're trying to understand things, trying to get you to understand things, trying to get you to do things. Okay? So learn about the art of psychic communication, working with your senses. Why are you smelling things where there's no perfume? Why are you seeing things where they shouldn't be? Learn about it. Don't take on board what everybody else tells you they think it is. Learn for yourself. Okay? So again, I will be contacting Brandon and seeing if we can help out with what's going off in their property. And finally, a little story to finish it off, just to prove the point. I was moving house at one stage in my life, and my son, came to me crying. And I says, why? What are you crying for? Well, I don't want to move. Why don't you want to move? I thought you were all excited about it. But our Laurie won't come with us. I said, excuse me? Laurie is his sister in spirit, who he has communicated with, and I have ever since she passed over. Well, she's never made it to this earth. But even stillborns, miscarriages, etc., still go on in spirit. And she'd made her presence known from when she was young. And my son had always communicated with her. And he got himself scared that she wasn't going to move house with us. And I said, darling, Laurie is with us, not the house. Remember, she was in the last house that we were at. She's been in this house. And when we move, she'll come with us. So we moved, and it was one of those easy moves. Straight in, furniture drop, kettle on, you're ready to go. Absolutely no messing about. And my son went upstairs and set up his bedroom, put all his pictures and his posters. You know what it's like. They've got 1,001 pictures and posters to go up on the wall, and he spent the whole day doing it. And he came down the stairs the next morning in hysterics. Bright and sunny, you know, it's like new house, you're all excited and all this. He gets up early, comes downstairs, absolutely in hysterics, laughing his back off. And I said, okay, what's up with you? He says, come here. So I went upstairs. He says, oh yeah, lovely bedroom, nice and tidy. Where's all your pictures gone? There they were, in a neat, tidy pile in the middle of the room. And I've got to say, this was one of the biggest bedrooms a kid's ever had. They were in a neat, tidy pile in the order he put them on the wall, on a pile in the middle of the floor. I says, what's going on? He says, Laurie took all my pictures down. Well, my reaction was, well, that's what you get for not trusting that she would come with you. Sorry, I says, but you're going to have to put them back. He says, well, she could at least put them back up for me. That's spirit. They will have fun with you. They will teach you a lesson. They will guide you and take you to where you need to be. And whether you're a 5-year-old open to spirit at all times, whether you're in dream state and having nightmares and not understanding it's spirit communication trying to guide you, or whether you've got spirit taking your posters off the wall, learn about the job. Learn how to communicate and ask those people who can help, not the ones who will come in and reinstate or reinstill the fear and not give you any answers. And it's time again for a break. After this break, we'll sum up what we've been covering today and give you another little bit of a story to do with spirit communication and learning how to deal with it.
We will be right back with more from Myths and Legends. Don't go anywhere. Don't miss out on the next scary tale coming up after a short break. Spiritualistonline.com. Online since 2002. Teaching all aspects of personal and spiritual development. Free to all with audio video chat rooms, members forums and SOC radio live shows on site. The Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual awareness, development, attainment, imparting knowledge, thoughts, ideas to inspire. One site, linking a whole network of spiritually informative, educational and interactive services, encompassing every faith, path, walk, religion as one. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life here with us on SOC Radio at spiritualistonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the liveliest spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com or facebook.com/socradio. Advertise with SOC Radio. 10, 15, 20 or 30-second jingles, adverts or promotions, all going out live on SOC Radio. Promote your services, churches, groups or events at the best rates online. Work with us on shows or promotion and you could get your jingles absolutely free. For this and more, contact Julie at socradioshows@gmail.com. SOC Radio aims to provide a wide range of hosts, shows, views and opinions while endeavouring to maintain our 3 vital principles of openness, honesty and integrity, covering all aspects of spiritualism, mediumship, healing, personal and spiritual development for all faiths, religions and walks of life as a way of life. As part of our spiritualistonline.com, Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, SOC Radio brings you the latest and honest news, views and names in the spiritual field. Check us out and tune in to SOC Radio on spiritualistonline.com. Join in the SOC Radio chat room on the website. The Circle of Mediums radio show. 6 mediums, healers, psychics, tarot, astrologers, spiritual workers every week, sharing spirit messages, development techniques, guidance and much more. Live in the SOC Radio chat room on spiritualistonline.com or simply listen in at tunein.com. Search SOC Radio. Would you like to contribute readings, thoughts, teachings and time to this 2-hour show? Get in touch at socradioshows@gmail.com. Join us on SOC Radio. Host your own online radio show. We welcome inquiries and ideas for your own show live right here on SOC Radio. Share your knowledge, thoughts and abilities. Bring your ideas to life with us here on SOC Radio and spiritualistonline.com. Or join any of our shows as a special guest, speaker or presenter. Check out the livelier spiritual chat show, the Spiritualist Open Circle Panel Forum, a monthly discussion show, or the Circle of Mediums, a weekly show sharing spirit messages and teaching all aspects of mediumship and psychic abilities. Or join our Christina on the monthly astrology show. Contact us now at socradioshows@gmail.com. Premium membership on spiritualistonline.com. Join our teaching lyceum, classes and courses to certificate and diploma levels. It's an option, not an obligation. Still only £30 per year for unlimited seminars, guest sessions, members' moments, voice members included on radio chats and TV shows, full certificate courses and qualifications, members' promotions of sites, books and services, discounts on SOC services, one-on-one teaching, private classes, members-only Facebook. Upgrade your membership today. Joint family group options. See spiritualistonline.com. Spiritualistonline.com. Online since 2002, teaching all aspects of personal and spiritual development. Free to all with audio video chat rooms, members forums and SOC Radio live shows on site. The Spiritualist Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual awareness, development, attainment, imparting knowledge, thoughts, ideas to inspire. One site, linking a whole network of spiritually informative, educational and interactive services, encompassing every faith, path, walk, religion as one. Welcome back. Are you sitting comfortably? Then we will continue with more scary stories, experiences and messages from realms yet to be explained.
And welcome back to Myths and Legends with myself, JULIESOC, aka Julie Simpson. Now, we're talking today about spirit activity, poltergeists, ghosts and ghoulies in your place, and how to learn to tell the difference and, if necessary, communicate with them, cease the activity, or at least live with it. Now, just to prove a point, I am 50-something years old, and I have moved more times than I've had hot dinners. I'm famous for forever living out of a suitcase, but every place I have lived, I've had spirit activity. Whether it's been linked to the house, like the old lady who lived there for a long, long time and enjoyed washing my dishes for me and tidying up for me and watching the movies in a creaky rocking chair, or whether it's my spirit guides and my spirit family paying me a visit every now and then to give me a little bit of information, guidance or teaching, or just to have a laugh. I've always had spirit in every house I've been to and I've lived to. I've had spirit with me in every place I've visited. Yes, there are times when I've had jobs and I say, look, no, I'm at work, leave me alone, not doing it today, let me work. I have routines that switch them on and off. They know when I'm working. When I worked at the residential homes and you weren't allowed to wear rings, So they knew as I got in the car and took off my rings and left them in my little compartment, that was the key. And that was the notice. I'm at work, leave me alone. As soon as I came out from work and got in the car, lit up and put my rings back on, there they were. Hello again, how you doing? How was work? And I'd say, oh, for God's sake, at least let me get home and have a cup of tea. So, as a medium, I understand communication, and you in life understand. Sometimes you've got friends that are there all the time. Sometimes you've got friends you don't see from 1 month to the next or 1 year to the next. But when you do, it's catching up. It's like old times, and it's like you've never been apart. That is spirit activity. Okay? We don't get scared about it in life. We might ask a question, where have you turned up from after 10 years? With some friends, you know, when they show up unannounced, they're after something. Oh God, what have you done today? What do I need to lend you today? Why do you need some money this time? We've all got those friends, haven't we? We've also got those ones who come when they are in desperate need only. And you know, if they're asking, then you need to pay attention and you need to help them. The ones who don't share their everyday life with you, but come when they need desperate help. And you're there for them. It's exactly the same with spirit. Okay? As in life, so in spirit, and vice versa. Yes, spirit remain and keep on their personalities they had in life, but they also have learned a lot of lessons. When we go through our life review on our crossing over, and we learn what's happened, like in one of the previous stories, had a hell of a fight in life, but in spirit she's realised that fight meant absolutely nothing when all things came to it. So she comes back and she lets you know that they've forgiven you, or that they realised the argument was no good, it was a waste of time, and that the fallout was for no reason at all, really, and they want to say sorry. So all the way through our lives, we have this extra friend, if you like. Whether it's the child growing up with their imaginary friend, their spirit guide letting them know, whether it's your grandmother telling you stories at night when you're scared and when you're alone, or whether it's somebody letting you know, hey, I crossed over, but it wasn't my fault. We do spirit investigations. We've all seen Sensing Murder. We've all seen the ghost stories and the films that glorify and set the fear of God into us about the afterlife, about monsters. Not going into such as things as Edward Scissorhands and, you know, the Nightmare on Elm Street and all this, because they're all glorified. They're all telling you a story to scare you, and as we said before, we all love being scared. Who wants to listen to a spirit who comes in and teaches you that you maybe should have been a bit friendlier with that person yesterday, because you're going to get to know them a little bit more and they're going to help you, and you need to be ready for it. You need to be ready to apologize. Those are the things that spirit will teach us when we're not paying attention, when we should be a little bit nicer, when we need to pay attention when we're driving. All these kinds of things. Okay? I want to finish off with this rather long story from Mike on Tell Me a Ghost Story. And I think this one pinpoints the way we build up the fear without understanding or listening to what the lessons are. This is from Mike, posted a while back on Tell Me a Ghost Story. And again, he's a prevalent poster, I believe, and has told more than one story on these pages. So here goes with this one. Bear with me, it's a bit long, but it proves the point. Okay? It was a weeknight. So I was off to bed early, because I'm a naturally early riser. I was awakened around midnight by a horrible nightmare that left me and the sheets soaking wet. The details of that dream have faded over the years, but I still remember the darkness of it. I got up to get a drink of water to let the sheets dry out a bit, climbed back into bed, shifting more to one side to lay off the damp sheets. But as I laid there trying not to think of the nightmare I had caught, I caught an off sound that came from the end of my bed. My ears perked up as I strained to hear the sound again. I decided to grab a pillow and prop my head up on the sleigh bed's footboard. Just moments later, I did hear the sound again. It came from the wall that was just feet from my head. I shot straight up and turned to face the sound. The sound was nothing I'd ever heard before or since that night. I can only compare it to the sound of a can of spray paint being discharged, but it was much, much lower in tone. As I stared at the wall and the sound, I tried to pinpoint what part of the wall it was coming from. However, the sound would be toward the lower part, and then the sound would be up the top. They came 5 to 10 seconds apart, and then 4 to 5 seconds apart, shooting from the top left of to the bottom right. All of a sudden, it was a constant, repetitive, mean, disturbing, loud and louder over and over again. And I had to back up from the foot of my bed, midway through, staring with wide eyes, trying to figure out what the hell I was listening to, what was going on. I soon realised that I did not want to be there. I jumped from the bed and headed for the front of the house. As I entered the utility room, the sound got stronger and louder. It was coming from the bathroom. That was opposite to my room. I flipped on the light in the utility room as I eased up to the bathroom. The sound was deafening. I stretched my arm into the bathroom to turn the light on. The sound was coming from the bathtub. You wouldn't you know it, the shower curtain was closed. I was pretty much freaking out at this point and wasn't about to enter the bathroom and open that curtain with my hand. I looked around the utility room and saw the broom. I quickly grabbed that and slowly crept into the bathroom. I had the broom outstretched because I wanted to be as far away as possible from that tub. I hooked at the end of the shower curtain and jerked it open. And there, right in front of me, was nothing. Nothing but this evil, evil sound, going around in circles over and over, pausing from second to second to stop in front of me, to give me a well, howdy do, to let me know it was still there. I was shaking in my undies. Tears were streaming down my face and I was unable to comprehend what I was witnessing. I have since learned that that means haunting feeds off your fears. Well, let me tell you, there was plenty of fodder to feed from. I was absolutely terrified. This moment only lasted about a minute or two, but seemed to be hours. It continued going around and around in this small space of the shower and tub, getting madder and madder. The low, deep spraying sound so loud at this point. After a few minutes, it made its move to a lower part of the tub, constantly making the sound and going in circles. Here's the odd part. It went down the drain. You could hear it as the tone changed, as it entered the opening, and how the sound carried as it went into the plumbing to fade out. I was left there standing with a broom in my hands, shaking. I quickly left the bathroom and went to the front room. I was pacing back and forth, trying to figure out what had just happened and what I was going to do next. I knew I had to calm down somehow. That sound just seemed to continue in my head over and over. I grabbed my phone and texted Jennifer. I told her I was writing this and got her permission to use her name, so thank you, Jennifer, for that. I tried to explain what had just happened, and she did what she could to comfort me. After a bit, I knew I had to go to bed because I had work in a short time. With every light on, I eased into the bedroom. I climbed into the bed, sidling all the way over to the other side. with my back to the edge of the bed. I was facing the doorway and could pretty much see all of the room. I lay there for only a few minutes when I felt something sit on the bed, right where the previous visitor had stopped. It sat on the part of my leg as it made itself comfortable. I was able to see the bed compress down as this happened. I screamed like a little girl and ran to the front room and picked up my shaking. I was back to pacing around like crazy again, trying to figure out my best move. The thing was, I didn't have any place to go. I called Jennifer again, relaying the bed moment. That's when I soon learned what Buck felt from the previous story. There was such a heavy, intense, thick, mean feeling vibe that radiated from the doorway into the utility room. Its presence was so forceful that I found myself into the furthest corner of the room. Couldn't take my eyes off it. It felt so mean. I was afraid that I was going to spill into the front and fill it up with this thick soup. Jennifer did what she could from the phone, but there was not much more there at this point. I wanted to run and fast, but I was in my underwear, and it was February, which means very cold. I had to sit in the corner of that room for hours to pass, until the feeling of being watched by a mean thing to fade away. When it did, I ran into my room, quickly grabbing whatever clothes I could find to throw them on as I headed out the front door. I was at work a couple of hours early, and I took that time to use the showers that were available. The whole day I was in a very, very bad way. I was able to share with one person what had happened and my concerns of going home that evening. It was obvious to all that I was still shaken up. I did go home that afternoon. Didn't know what to expect. Things seemed to still have that odd feeling about them. What I did know was that I was not sleeping in that room again, and never did again. I filled up an air mattress and slept in the front room for the remaining 2 weeks I lived there. It had terrified me, and I know it wanted to. I usually enjoy watching horror movies and such. However, after that night, I didn't want to watch anything to do with being scared. I don't know if the next people that moved in had anything happen to them. I don't know the history of the house, nor what I'm about to find out. Nor am I about to find out, I should say. I just want that house and what experience to stay in that part of the house. Sorry, that bit doesn't make sense. I just want that house and what experienced stay in that part of the house. I very rarely travel through Melbourne anymore, and but when I do, I have yet to drive by that house. Thanks for reading. I hope it makes sense. I'm kind of feeling strange reliving that time, but life moves on. I've lots of moments at different locations since then. I will work on some of those. Most are cute, fun, cool ones. Few were not, but to try and handle them better. Now, I know Tracy, our producer today, is now sitting in the corner scared shitless because she's in Melbourne and she's wondering where that house was. But one thing you notice about that story, the fear built up. It started off with a nightmare that scares us. Okay? Then something happened, a noise happened in the house. And it built up and built up. And whatever was going off in that house only built up more and more the fear. Running around the house in his undies with a brush. Can you imagine it? And having that scene of a noise coming from the bathtub with the shower curtain closed. Horror films come to mind, of course. But what we do notice is there was no communication. He didn't ask, who is it? Why are you here? Is there any way I can help you? He didn't communicate, but the spirit continually tried to grab his attention even to the point of sitting on the bed to try and talk to him. Was that spirit indeed trying to calm him down at that point, realizing that he'd scared the life out of him? What do you do when a child has a nightmare? You sit on the edge of their bed and you try and calm them down. But because of the previous events, he was too scared to communicate and to ask. He even states through the story at one point where the sound kept stopping in front of him as if to say hello. But did he respond? No. Spirit knocking, spirit playing music, spirit knocking on walls, or playing spray paint tins to get your attention. The whispers, the noises that go off in properties. Do you communicate with them? Or do you run scared around the house, unable to again live in that house or even sleep in a bedroom? Find out by talking to them. Communicate with it. Go and find out the history of the house. Had he lost somebody in spirit to spirit recently that was trying to communicate? Was it the house, or was it a friend of his or a member of his family that wanted to talk to him? Some of these events can't be explained, like in one of the previous stories, getting pulled out of your bed. Why? Why would spirit do that? Why would they touch you? Why would they harm you if they're family and friends? If not to warn you of something you need to pay attention to. These and more stories on our favourite 2 Facebook pages. Tell Me a Ghost Story and Ghosts, the Paranormal. Sorry, I'll do that one again. Get the right name for it. Tell Me a Ghost Story is the one that's in all capital letters. And the Ghosts one is Ghosts, the Paranormal, Supernatural, Myths and Legends on Facebook. You can find these and other stories being shared along with images and videos, and some have EMP recordings of spirit, the noises and the sounds that they make. But if you want to investigate them, do you go to a paranormal investigator? Do you go to a medium or a psychic? If it's a ghost activity, the only thing you can do is thank time for the replay, because it's a movie. Go back to the cinema and watch another movie and try and make it change. You can't. That's a ghost activity. When nothing about the activity changes. When the activity changes and is continuously different, it's spirit activity. Conscious spirit activity trying to get your attention. And whether it's a poltergeist, somebody upset that they were locked in a room for years, or somebody upset that they're trying to communicate and you're not listening or communicating back with them, they'll get madder and madder and the activity gets wilder and wilder until you do. And yes, spirit go with you wherever you are, because they're family, friends and loved ones 9 times out of 10. Or, like in some cases we've heard, you're a medium. They know it, but you yet do not. If you're experiencing these things, maybe it's time you trained up to be a medium and communicate with spirit. I hope I haven't scared you too much with today's stories, and we will be back next week with more of the same. In the meantime, this has been JULIESOC with Myths and Legends from SOC Radio. May spirit guide and keep you.
Thank you for listening
You're done.
to Tales from Ghosts, the Paranormal, Supernatural, Myths and Legends.
I love that last one.
And more at our
Yes, and I didn't even know it was in Melbourne, so there you go.
I knew that was going to get you at the end. It's in Melbourne.
Uh-oh.
Spiritualistonline.com.
And actually kept up. I actually
all aspects of
keep
personal and spiritual development.
as you were
Free to
doing
all
it.
audio, video
There was a
chat
dog
rooms,
around
members
you.
forums, and SOC
So
radio
maybe
live
it
shows on
might have
site.
been a dog or
The
something like
Spiritualist
that.
Online Network and Lyceum, a global oasis for spiritual
Okie
awareness,
dokie.
development,
Well, that's that one done.
attainment,
Now I need to go to the loo, so go do what you need to do. I'll go do what I need to do.
One
Swap
site,
over accounts,
linking a
and
whole
we'll get into the web
network of
work after coffee and
spiritually
food.
informative, educational
Okay,
and
sounds
interactive
good.
services,
Thank you, Julie.
encompassing
Cheers,
every
Pat.
faith,
No
path,
problem.
walk, religion as one.
I'm gonna go for a pee too. Oh, why does it keep going like that for?